Honestly, I don't fully agree with it. Because expecting children that don't know who they are fully yet and then immersing them into culturally based homes, I don't think is the right outlook, because what if that's not their belief system? What if that's not what they believe? Like, I understand. I grew up both ways.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up going to church, and then I grew up going to ceremony, where there wasn't that it has to be this way. I understand as a First Nations person that you want that. You want them to know their culture, and I respect that. But if it's not a safe space for them to believe what they need to believe in, as long as they're believing in a higher power, I think that should be the biggest outlook.
I think that's a good idea. But then when I think about growing up culturally, I immediately think of a friend that I went to university with who did grow up in that sense. And then she became an adult, she went to university and like learned about other things, and she, what is that called? She switched to Hinduism.
Oh, okay.
And like she became very passionate about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good idea, but I don't know. Would that be... That's kind of tricky, because when you think about church and things like that being put into families with that, would that be the same thing? Putting someone into a culturally thing, but that's also our background.
Yeah.
Because what if they believe in other higher powers?
Yeah. So you feel call to action number 1 sort of limits that child's right to decide what they want to believe in?
Yeah. Like, I understand where it's coming from, and I know it's from a good place.
Yep.
But as someone that grew up both ways, having that respect for any other belief should still be a very systematic part of this.
But I mean, also I grew up Catholic and all of that, so I don't really know too much about the cultural ways. So I think that's a good idea, because I would have loved to grow up in that sense more than I did with Catholicism. Bless my family though. But yeah. I think it would be providing resources, because we all want to help the kids who are in care, and we all want to help people who want to get their babies back, but there's no resources. So they need to provide those resources, and then that opens a whole new can of worms of how we're utilizing our cows and plows, because instead of giving the money to us, they could just be creating these resources of these group homes, therapy, detox, all these things that they could be doing to helping that. So I think just providing more resources, finding resources, creating resources.
My stepsisters, their mom was a foster mom for Indigenous children, and she is not Indigenous. She was not Indigenous. And they would come over because we had ceremony, and they weren't Cree kids.
Yeah.
There was one that was Inuk, and then Dene, and we didn't know that part. So we couldn't, tell them that you're this proud person, you should be proud of who you are, because we didn't know something about their culture. Where if you have these safe homes, you can have people of these different tribes and these different people.
So a safe home with someone who runs it, family-based, family-orientated, but also every child's Indigenous background is respected and promoted?
Yes. And to me, that overrepresentation comes from these judgments, these, what's it called?
Stereotypes?
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. These racial stereotypes of who First Nations people are because of what we've been through. And that's never even taken into accountability, that there's so many generations before us. Like, I'm a first generation survivor of residential school. I haven't gone. My moms went, my uncles have went, my aunties have went. I'm the first generation that hasn't gone, and I'm 31.
Yeah.
That says a lot. There was still residential day schools when I was a toddler, and that says a lot. That's not long ago, where that's never taken into accountability. The amount of abuse our people have went through is never taken into accountability.
I think again that goes back to resources because a lot of these people who are in the jails are doing petty crimes. And then because they're spending so much time in the jail, they go out and then they don't know how to act because they're so used to living in that sense. And then they come out and then they have all this newfound freedom that they're going to go right back most of the time to what they're used to. And then they're right back in the jails. And then it's just a boomerang effect where they just keep going back and forth and they don't know how to be without living in that sense. So again, I think it's just resources that are helping while they're in the jails. Because I know that they do have resources, but I think there just needs to be more. Because whatever is happening is not working.
Yeah, because there's literally always a boot on the back for us. Doesn't matter anything. But when it comes to the justice system, there's the boot on the head. Everything else, there's a boot on our back. But when it comes to the justice system and anybody that's any part of the justice system for First Nations people, whether it's the accused, the victim, the convicted. No, that wasn't going to say convicted, but the I can't think of the word now. The people that see it. What's it called again?
Witness?
Yes, witness. Sorry, I just like spaced today.
No, it's okay.
But like, when it comes to the justice system, anything that has to do with Indigenous people, there's always a boot on our head. I think they need to actually look at what's going on. Like, you can look at someone's conviction or something they're accused of, or you know, but you don't read it, you don't see it.
Yeah.
But if you actually took the time to look at what they've gone through or what they experienced, and to be like, you know, you're this age, your frontal lobe hasn't developed. How do you know with decision making?
Yeah.
If especially these young Indigenous men, it's always between 17 and 24. That's the highest crime rate for Indigenous men. Because after that, they get institutionalized. And they're so used to it, they've never lived outside of the walls.
Yeah.
Where they don't have that frontal lobe development. So they don't understand decision making. And, you know, they can't fully understand what they're doing. But they're held to the same rate as someone that's like 35.
Yeah, they're given unfair expectations.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, having education, providing more like physical activity, land-based things, just like, I don't know, just in a way to make it more, because it's like, while they say it's there, it's here, but a lot of people don't know about it because they only have it in their small communities. They're not branching out because they need to bring in more people to come and do it, but they just have it right here and that's it. No one knows about it.
Giving them that grace, regardless of any situation, there should always be grace and empathy. But actually look at where they come from before you're quick to throw them their whole life away.
Yeah.
Because what if they had higher expectations for themselves? What if it was just a one-time thing? Like, I'm not saying that that's every situation, but I think that would help a lot in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Where, you know, instead of giving them no parole, no nothing, right straight to high security, like, I don't feel like that's the way to go about it. That just makes angry people more angry.
Yeah.
Because no one gave them a chance.
I think life transitions. When I took that in high school, that was like the
Yeah.
That was like a very preem class that I paid most attention to. Because then when you have a basic understanding of how we could exist basically in the world,
Yeah.
then obviously we branch off into what we are. Because like in high school, I was a little shit who didn't know anything. I just wanted to become a journalist and live like Carrie Bradshaw.
Yeah.
And then as I went on and learned about history and research and archives, I'm now on my way to becoming a historian and an archivist. And so branching into something, we just need more. The life transitions will show us where we could go.
It gives us like the basic knowledge of living outside of the home, right?
Yeah, because we have to understand ourselves in order to do what we need to do.
Yeah.
Or should do, I guess.
Take off the rose-colored glasses. Treat them like they're human instead of, pests that they get treated as. Like, that's someone's son. That's someone's daughter. That's someone's child. Like, I would say, treat them as human. Treat them like they should be treated.
Yeah.
Respect them as they should be respected.